Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of the Metabolism and Menopause podcast. My name is Stephanie, and I am your host and CEO of Vitality OET. We are a women's nutrition, health, and fitness company that focuses predominantly on women's hormones, particularly as they start going through perimenopause and onwards. We know that you start experiencing so many changes in this time of your life, whether it be hot flashes, night sweats, irritability, brain fog, or that waking around the middle that seems to have come out of absolutely nowhere, despite you not changing anything. So we go back to those tried and true methods of cutting calories, cutting carbs, doing a bunch of cardio, yet nothing seems to be working. In fact, it feels like you're putting in all this effort and you might actually be moving backwards. But we know now that your body is inherently different now that you've gone through these hormonal changes. So our mission here at Vitality is to really help you understand how your body changes in this time of your life. So you can reach those health and fitness goals, feel in control and at home in your body again, live a life full of vitality, and really understand how to take care of this new body of yours. So today I want to talk about fitness trackers, those wearables, the Apple Watches, the Fitbits, the Garmins, the Samsungs, the Oura rings, all those things. Because a lot of people use wearable fitness devices. 40%. 40. That is a lot. 40% of those people use it to measure heart rate. 40% use it to measure calories burned. 60% use them to track their step count. And a lot of women make decisions on their nutrition, how they're going to eat, how they're going to exercise, based off the data they get from those wearables. But what if that data is totally wrong? That's a big question. Because first of all, there are huge variances between different brands for all those categories. So that should be your first hint that, hey, these probably aren't super accurate. Otherwise, there'd be one that would trump them all, right? And that is not the case. So heart rate. Some trackers get better as their heart rate goes up. So if you're exercising, heart rate can become more accurate. But there's some that are more accurate when you're at rest. So again, depending on the tracker, you can have a lot of variability. And if you're more active or less active, it'll be more or less accurate. So that's one. Trackers are great for tracking changes over time or to bring awareness to when you are stressed by looking at our resting heart rate changes. So this is some place where it's actually good to use these. So if I am usually around, let's say 45 beats per minute, which again, may or may not be accurate, doesn't matter. But then all of a sudden my resting heart rate jumps up to 55 after a couple weeks and it just stays there. That can tell me that I'm under a lot more stress, that I'm getting sick and fighting something off. I'm not recovering enough from workouts. I'm not eating enough food. I'm not sleeping enough. It tells me my system is stressed. So that's where tracking your resting heart rate changes over time can be very helpful. Next one is steps. Steps, huge variance on what you are using. Again, great for tracking improvements over time. So even if you aren't actually getting the 8,000 steps, if you are increased it from 8,000 or to 9,000, we know that's improvement over time. So that's where it can be helpful. In terms of absolute number, not so great. Okay. Now we look at calories burned. Absolutely freaking terrible for this. Here's a quote from a Harvard study because I did a bunch of research on this. I looked at a bunch of meta-analysis, which is basically studies that look at hundreds of studies to figure out what the consensus is, right? Because there's always going to be different confounding variables and all these kinds of things. I went to grad school. I've done research. I've been on lots of papers. So this is I like this stuff. And so I really dove into it. And this is a quote from a Harvard study that heart rate measurements performed better than we anticipated. However, calories burned measures were way off the mark. The magnitude of just how bad they were surprised me. And that was from one of the researchers in the Harvard study. So they were shocked at just how bad these trackers are at calculating calories burned. And this is why we tell women all the time, ignore your calories burned. Take it off. Take it off your fitness, like MyFitnessPal. Do not let it track exercise. Do not pay attention to calories burned. Okay? A meta-analysis in 2020 included 158 different studies that examined 9 different comparable or commercial wearable devices, so different brands. Fitbit is by far the most studied brand is what they found. It's been around for a long time. And in a lab-based setting, Fitbit, the Apple Watch, and Samsung appeared to measure steps fairly accurately. Heart rate measurements were quite a bit more variable, especially the Fitbit. It tended to underestimate actually your steps, and Apple Watch and Garmin seem to be more accurate in terms of steps. But for energy expenditure, no single brand was even close to being accurate. And they also examined validity between devices within a specific brand. So is one Fitbit to another Fitbit, are they producing similar results? One Apple Watch to another Apple Watch. They're comparing it, right? So they concluded that that commercial wearable devices are okay for measuring steps and heart rate in a lab-based settings, but it really, really varies based on manufacturer and the device type. But they are terrible for calculating calories. In 2022, the Fitbit Charge and the Fitbit Charge HR were consistently shown to have a good accuracy for step counts, and Apple Watch was good for measuring heart rate. However, none of the tested devices proved to be accurate in measuring calories burned. Okay, so let's look at specific ones when we're looking at the gold standard. So let's say a person was burning 2,000 calories a day. The Apple Watch can miscalculate calories by as much as 115%. So your calories burned, if you actually burn 2,000 calories and that's measured in a lab, it could be off by 2,300 calories in either direction. The Oura Ring miscalculated calories burned by 13%. So that can be off by 260 calories if you actually burned only 2,000. The Whoop doesn't have any data yet. It's still pretty new, so there's still lots of studies coming out on that. The Garmin miscalculated calories burned by up to 43%. So if you actually burned 2,000 calories, it would be off by up to 860 calories in a day. The Fitbit, up to 15%, so that's off by 300 calories per day. The Samsung, up to 21%, which is 420 calories. The Polar Watch, up to 17%, which is 340 calories. Withings is up to 98%, so you could be off by up to 1,960 calories. So overall, these devices were incredibly inconsistent person to person, and then compared to the gold standard when measuring calories burned, because of the different equations they use and all those kinds of things, right? So if you actually burn 2,000 calories in a day and you're relying on your wearables, you could be off by anywhere from 13 to 115%. So let's say that your watch says you burn 2,000 calories, okay? And you're using a Fitbit, okay? So they tell you burned 2,300, so then you eat 300 calories more, so then you're eating more than you actually burned. Or it could be under, right? So it could be under, and you could be like, it could be telling you that you're at 1,700 when you're actually at 2,000. And then if you're trying to lose weight and now you're eating like, let's say 1,400, you're in a 600 calorie deficit. That's huge. That's a huge stress on your body. So this is why we never, ever recommend making decisions for your nutrition and exercise when it comes to calories burned on your Fitbit or your Apple Watch or whatever wearable you're using, because it can be off by so much. So much. So when we're calculating where your food intake should be and things like that, we always take into account, what kind of exercise are you doing? How stressed out are you? How many diets have you done? Where's your energy at? Your sleep, your digestion, all of these things are going to impact how good your body is at burning calories. And exercise only accounts for like 5 to 10% of calories burned in a day. 5 to 10%. That's it. So why are you focused so much on how many calories you burn in your workout when it only counts up to 10% of your calories burned in a day? We should be focusing on the other things that make up the other 90% of your calories burned in a day. And the thing that burns the most amount of calories or contributes the most is your basal metabolic rate, which is your metabolism, how many calories your body burns at rest. And this is dictated by size, amount of muscle mass, stress, hormones, the type of foods that you eat. That's a thermic effect of food. But like inflammation, like how optimally is your body functioning? How much muscle mass do you have? All those things are going to contribute to how many calories your body is burning. Up to 60% of your calories out are determined on that. So why wouldn't we try to focus on optimizing your health to then increase your calories burned in a day? Because if all you are doing is focusing on how many calories your watch tells you, there's so much variability. It's not accurate. Studies show this over and over and over and over. We had Coach Hannah. She was wearing 2 different trackers and wearing them on the same days for workouts and all day. 800 calorie difference. 800 calories between 2 different trackers. Of course they're not accurate. If there's that much variability between trackers and there isn't one that's doing way better or one that's, off the market because it's so inaccurate, like none of them are accurate, right? So this is where you really need to understand that just relying on how many calories you burn in a workout and paying attention to your calories burned from your watches could actually be leading you in the wrong direction because it's underestimating, overestimating. So if you want to wear a tracker, that's great. It's great to monitor changes in steps over time, your heart rate over time to see if you're overstressed and stuff like that. But do not even look at your calories burned because it literally does not freaking matter. Okay? So this is where, we figure out how many calories your body actually needs based on all the feedback, your history, your age, your height, your weight, your stress, your activity levels, what you do for work, your sleep, your energy, your digestion, past dieting history, what food intake looks like right now, food quality. All those things are going to impact how good your body is at burning calories, which is going to matter way freaking more than what your watch says. Is activity important? Yes, obviously important for health, but when we're working out, we should be focusing on how can I work out to improve that 60%, that metabolism, to make my body better at burning calories, making weight loss a lot easier. And the answer is by putting on muscle. Okay? That is the thing that is going to make a big difference for you in so many areas, not just calories burned, but your insulin sensitivity, which also goes down during perimenopause and menopause when estrogen goes down. We have a hard time building and maintaining muscle mass when estrogen goes down. Those 2 alone are huge reasons why we should be putting on muscle mass. So work out in a way that actually helps support that. So resistance training. We're eating enough protein. We are, giving ourselves ample time to recover. We're eating pre and post workout. We're lifting in a way where our body is like, oh dang, I need to actually get stronger because I need to build and maintain muscle mass because Steph keeps trying to lift these heavy things all the time. So this is where it's like, you lift a weight 6 to 8 times. If I feel like I can lift it 10 times, I need to make it more challenging. So I either have to slow down the movements, pause at the bottoms, really focus on squeezing what muscles I'm trying to use, go through full range of motion. So if I'm doing a bicep curl, my arm is coming all the way down and then all the way up. So we're fully extending at the elbow. I'm still squeezing that bicep as I'm lowering that weight, or I'm just upping the weight. But if you're not making it hard to get to that 6 to 8 reps, Your body's like, we have enough muscle to like do the thing, so we don't have to maintain or build anymore, right? Your body is lazy that way. It wants to make things easier for you. So if you aren't actively sending the signal of, hey, I need to build more muscle, but also eating enough food so your body can build muscle, it's not going to matter. So stop looking at your calories from your watch because it can be off from up to 13 to 115%. That number literally means nothing. Harvard researchers were shocked. Again, they quoted, "The magnitude of just how bad they were surprised me." That is pretty freaking bad. So, if you want to figure out how many calories should I actually be eating, because I have no idea, because obviously whatever my watch is just telling me doesn't matter, so how do I know how much I need to eat? Just book a consultation call. The link is in the bio, or in the show notes for you there. All you have to do is book that call. We will never talk about coaching if you don't want to talk about coaching. That call is there to help you get whatever you need to feel like you have the information needed to make this on your own. So we will calculate your calories for you. We will assess where you're at. We will give you some nutritional guidelines, activity adjustments, whatever you need based on what goal you have, plus also what your body needs based on the history that you have. Okay? These calls are free. No pressure to book in for coaching or anything like that. We just want to help more women actually get healthier, get closer to where they want to be. So book that call. We will calculate your calories for you because your Apple Watch or whatever wearable you're using is absolute garbage for this. I love you all. Have a great day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.